Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We are going to go ahead and do a zombie coin video here today. I did a video a long time ago where I walked through the actual game itself, gave you basically an overview of how the game is, and kind of walked you through each of the sections and gave you my thoughts about the overall zombie coin game. They are doing a major update that's coming up here on Tuesday, August 22nd. So I wanted to go ahead and do a video for them and show you really just all the things that are coming up here in the near future. Plus, there's already a few things that have been released that you may be very interested in, including free to play. We will touch on that, and I may even do a second video on this. Again, as I mentioned, this is coming out on Tuesday, so this is obviously recorded prior to that since you're watching it before August 22nd. So I may do another video coming up here in the future where I'm going to go ahead and do a re-walk through of everything that's involved in the game, especially for any new players that are interested in the game itself. You can see how to play it from the current version, or I guess the original version, plus the new expansion that includes a whole bunch of different regions. Like I said, there's free to play that's available, there's breeding, there's a whole bunch of different things that are going to be coming here by the end of the month. There's some things that have already dropped in August, there's some things dropping on the 22nd, and there's some things that are also dropping on either September 1st or TBD that is coming here in the very near future. So let's go ahead and actually jump into this. I will have a link in the description down below with the video that I did originally that walked through the basics, that walked through the basic chopping, exploring, mining, and all those types of things. I went through it in great detail. So I'm not going to cover all that, but if you want to take a look at that, again, there is a link down in the description down below. But I wanted to focus today's conversation again on the items that have been released recently and that are releasing here on the 22nd. The first of all, there is a free-to-play version of the game that came out earlier this month. I believe it was on August 1st or sometime around that time frame. It's not a full version. It just kind of gives you like every free-to-play option that's out there. What it really does is it gives you kind of a look, and you get to test the game out. You get to see if it feels right to you, and if you decide you want to take a look into it. I love it when games actually put in some sort of free-to-play option, whether it's like we just saw with Shadow Depths, where it's most of the game that they offer to you, or if it's a little bit of a taste. As long as it's free to play, so you can go ahead in there and test, it's out there. And if you go into the game, you don't need any NFTs to do this. You can go in there. Yours may not look like this. If you don't have any land or any NFTs or anything along those lines, this would probably just be a blank field or a grassy field that you can go ahead and take a look at. The free to play portion is in the chopping and exploring section. So all you have to do is when you first log in, it's probably going to look a lot like this. There's a little stopwatch here. You can go ahead and click on that, click on chop. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a free section here. Normally you would need an axe or you need a skateboard or a wheelbarrow, things like that in order to do the NFT or the full version of the chopping. But you do have the option to go ahead and click on this one, which will allow you to go ahead and test it out. It costs 0 of the food, 0 of the coin, and you can go ahead and click on that. And it'll go out there and it'll chop something down for you, so you'll get a little bit of wood, and then there is a long lead time of 4 hours until you can do it again. But you can go ahead and do it again. And again, full disclaimer, if you're not familiar with Zombiecoin, it is a little bit more of a clicker, and I don't tend to do clickers on my channel much unless they have some depth. And that was one of the feedback that I gave around this game is a clicker, but there's a lot involved in it. And with this new expansion that I'm going to talk about here a little more in a second, there's a lot more and more involved with it. That's why we're kind of covering it on the channel. So you also have the option to do the free to play for explorers. As you can see, you got wood that you can use to go ahead and blend items down the road. If you go ahead and click on explore, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see the shovel, you're going to see the scooter that they have there. But you're going to see the free section here that you can go ahead and click. And what that'll do is that's going to go out there and explore. Again, it costs nothing. And it's going to explore, and you're probably going to come back with glass or a boot, in this case, a worn boot that you can go ahead. And if you gather enough of those, you can blend this into or craft this into leather, which can be used also to with a couple other items to craft different items within the game. So if you want to go ahead and test that out and slowly work yourself into the game and be able to work your way up and blend things, The free to play is a great option to go ahead and do that. And you can go ahead and just really test it to make sure that it is or it isn't one of the things that works best for you. In addition to the free to play, they also added a few other items within the game. For example, there is an expanded marketplace or shop, however you want to call it. If you go over to the quest, there's additional quests now. There used to only be 2 quests. Now you have another quest that you can go ahead and add in there. And you can see that even the free to play actually contributes to the quest itself, which is great. So you can continue to play the free to play, earn some quests, get some rocks in here for the exploration. You'll get some rocks there. So, and that can all be blended into stone. I'm sorry, different items that you can use to blend. So it's nice that they're actually stacking the free to play in blending it in with the actual game itself. So those are some of the early items that dropped this month, things that give you a chance to go ahead and feel it out, see if it's the right thing for you. But the majority of the items that are going to be coming out here are going to be on the 22nd again, which is the Tuesday coming up, depending on the time you're watching this, which we're going to go ahead and dive into here in a minute. The original game itself only had the northern region to go ahead and explore, but you'll notice there's a few other items in here now, which are 3 new regions that they are going ahead and adding to the game that allow you to go ahead and play and go ahead and find different items within those. It does take different items to go ahead and explore those, so you're going to have to do some blending, maybe some breeding that's going to happen here, which we'll talk about here more in a second. But you have the option now to go ahead, or I should say on the 22nd, you'll have the option to go ahead and do the oceans, the desert, and the jungle, which are the 3 new regions that you're going to have access to. If you want to really dig through the details of these regions, because they do include a lot, I'll have a link in the description to this Medium article from Zombiecoin that really kind of goes through and explores the different regions and gives you all the details that you may or may not want to know about the region themselves. In order to go ahead and get access to the regions, you are going to need region map NTTs to go ahead and access those. They basically act as a permit for each of the regions. So you can go ahead and basically crafting those by putting together basically map fragments that you can go ahead and find within the northern region. That'll allow you to access those 3 regions that I was talking here. As you can see, I can't access them yet. 1, because it's not available yet. 2, because I don't have the maps or the maps, the permits, however you want to call it. Once you're able to go ahead and explore into those regions, there's a number of things that are involved in those. And each region is going to have its own treasures, and each region is going to have its own tools. I'm skimming through this, but I'm going to go through it in a little more detail. I wanted to kind of go down here to the equipment that you're going to need, and then we'll jump back up to the actual regions that are going to be connected to those. Like I said, there's going to be new characters. If you're familiar at all with the game, or you've been through what I had mentioned before, there are actually different characters that you can see the active population. There's farmers, there's explorers, there's zombies, and what they're going to be adding now is some additional ones. There's going to be the desert explorer, the jungle tracker, the deep diver. These can each be equipped and their equipment be equipped, so you can go ahead and use them. And the way that you're going to go ahead and get each of these new characters is by using some of the new equipment that's going to be available in the game. For example, for the Desert Explorer, you're going to take a normal villager NFT, and you're going to go ahead and combine it with 3 different items, with its sunglasses, desert boots, things like that are NFT related. Once you go ahead and merge them together, it'll go ahead and give you that Desert Explorer. And then with that Desert Explorer, you can go ahead and equip them with desert binoculars, the camel, GPS, things like that are going to help you, that you can go ahead within the game itself and use to explore, similar to the way you were doing it with the northern, with the shovel and things like that. With the desert, you'll go ahead and use the binoculars, the camel. It's hard to see, I know, because it's shaded out. GPS and things like that, which will allow you to go ahead and do multiple explorations. This is just an example. This is the northern region. For each of these, just similar to what we did with the free one, we can go ahead and click on them. And what it'll do is go out and explore and gather different items, like there's the rock. And the nice thing that I can go ahead and do is, for each one of these, similar to the different regions and their items, you can go ahead out there and explore and get different items. And they have slightly different timers. sometimes you get rocks, sometimes you get some cool stuff. And then you can see here, like for the scooter I had there, it's a 30-minute timer, or a cooldown, I should say, and then 2 hours, and you're going to have that ability. So in this specific example, I can go out there 3 times. So if I had a camel, binoculars, and GPS, I'd be able to go ahead and explore this 3 times also, and try and get some of the cool rewards that are out there, which we'll talk about here in a second. We also have the jungle tracker, which is similar. You're going to take a regular villager NFT, combine it with a poncho, tracker boots, and a hat, and then they can also use equipment that's like the machete and the motorcycle, things like that. Again, so when you're over here in the game itself, these will be different equipment that you can use to go ahead and do that exploration. And then last but not least is the deep dive, where you basically combine the villager NFT with a wetsuit, swimming mask, and I missed one, and a swimming mask, I guess, to go ahead, and an air tank, it looks like, to go ahead and combine them together. And they can use the equipment like swim fins, propulsion, scuba tank, mix the two up. But they can use those equipment to go ahead and do a number of different explorations as you're going out there and earn different rewards. I'm going to go ahead and slide back up here to the regions. Now you know the equipment, you know the explorers that you're going to need to use. What you probably want to know is what are the rewards that you're going to get, the treasures, things like that. There's going to be a whole bunch of different things that are in each of the regions. For example, the underwater one here, you get anywhere from commons to rare seaweeds. There's different treasures within the game itself. All these things that you can go ahead and use to craft different items. Just similar to what we saw with the rocks and the boots when I did the explorations in the northern region. It's going to be things like that that can go ahead and be used. Jungle is very similar. You're going to be able to find troves of minerals and fruits and rubber tree bark, things like that that are going to be that you go ahead and you use within the game to craft other items. And then last but not least is going to be and in the desert, you're going to be able to get scorpions and cacti and things like that that are going to be able to also, again, be able to use to craft. They do mention in here that there are some rare lost treasures, so I'm sure you'll be able to find a treasure chest that has not been identified as far as the game goes. And that's from an exploration perspective. They're also going to go ahead and add different items from the mining side. They're adding 3 different resources, coal, tin, and copper. These resources are going to go ahead and be able to use to blend different items. Also, there's in the new edition, there's going to be a breeding system too, which you'll be able to use those actually in the explorations in the different regions. I kind of hinted at it. For example, you can go ahead and breed camels and a camel bull, camel cow, and camel bull, which can go ahead and breed additional camels that will be used within the game. The breeding can be done once a week. It consumes 1 health point from each of your camels, and the camels basically have 5 health points, which I should say the camel bulls have 5 health points, which kind of limits it, which is a good addition to the game. You do need a barn NFT in order to be able to do this. There's also going to be water and other crafting recipes where it's going to require water, essentially a lake and a water pump, which is going to be added here at some point in the future. I believe it's on the 22nd also. There's magic potions, which is a mythical NFT that you're going to be able to get by combining different exclusive items from each of the 4 regions. And that's the critical thing there, is you're going to have to explore in all 4 regions in order to get some of the higher tier items. Some of the some of the stuff can only be found by your pets. And when I mean pets, if you go back over here, there is a hunting option. If you click on that, there is a number of different pets in here. For example, for this chicken that I have here, you go ahead and send it out there and it gets different types of items. From a rarity perspective, that gave me 8 wood. Usually the higher tier animal, the better results. In case you weren't aware of that, this is probably the lowest tier and the dragon's probably the highest tier. The higher tier, you have the better chance of getting the higher tier items. So that is another thing that's in there. As I mentioned, there is the free-to-play option. We're already able to go in there in the northern region and be able to go ahead and chop wood and explore with 4-hour cooldowns. I did show you that earlier in this video. And in addition, there's a number of minor updates that are going to be coming out here also from additional items needed to do recipes. There's a balancing with the tokens. For example, if you own land, a barn, how I showed you here previously, the ZBF, there's a slight increase to that to give you more if you own the land. If you go to staking, you'll see it here. This is how much you gather in a month. And that's going slightly up on the 22nd, but to kind of balance that out, the Zombie Coin, the ZBC, that production is actually going to be going down a little bit. So there's a number of updates and balances that they're going through this. It's really going to expand the game itself. For those of you that have been playing Zombie Coin for quite some time, because I don't know if I mentioned in this video, but I did mention it several times in the other one. Zombie Coin's been out for, I would say, at least 2 years, if not more than that. So it's been around for a long period of time. It has some stability, especially for clickers compared to a number of clickers that came and went very quickly. And if you've been playing since then, it's been a lot of the same concept. They've added additional features and things like that. So it's not the same game that was released 2 years ago. But this is a huge, huge, huge update to the game. And I highly encourage you, if you're at all interested in zombie style, and it's not even necessarily a zombie style game, it has a zombie theme to it, but there's not a ton of zombie stuff in the game. But if you like the farmer, the exploration, the mining, and crafting, things like that, if you like that type of game, you might want to take a closer look at this. Again, this is not financial advice. Please make sure you're doing your own research, but it's definitely worth checking out. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you want me to go ahead and do a full walkthrough after the 22nd, once I was able to get some of the map fragments? Go ahead and do a full video actually showing you the different parts and the different items within the game, especially the new regions, so you can test it out yourself. Go ahead and let me know down below. Also, let me know, are you playing Zombie Coin? Are you planning to play Zombie Coin? I'm really curious to see what everybody thinks. I hope you all enjoy this. Again, we got 4 regions coming out, three new ones, one northern, which is already there, ocean, desert, and jungle. Just a quick recap of what we talked about as far as getting access to those lands. You're going to have to go ahead and get these maps, which can be combined by 3 map fragments. Then you're going to have to upgrade your villagers to be able to get explorers that can go ahead and use the equipment that is described in each of these seconds to go out there and get some of the new items that are within each of the different regions. Once you get items from all 4 regions, you're going to be able to do blend for mythical items that can really help you within the game. I hope this was helpful. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.